Garman, and I'm here to talk to you about the craft beer industry. I'm a staff writer at the Akron Beacon Journal, and I've been researching the craft beer industry since the late 1990s. And researching is my code word for drinking. I don't think I drink a lot, but I think I'm passionate, and all right, well, maybe I do drink a lot. But all this research has resulted in 2 books, including my latest, which is the 50 Must-Try Craft Beers of Ohio. I drove around the state drinking every single beer I could get my hands on, and here's normally where the audience groans and says they want to come with me. There's just something special about walking into a brewery that I really enjoy. I don't know if it's the smell of the hops and the barley in the air, or it's the beauty and artistry that I see in the glimmering stainless steel. Or maybe it's the way the brewery's decorated. It's definitely the beer. I'm lucky because my passion has become big business here in the state and across the country. The Brewers Association reported earlier this year that craft beer provides a $2.7 billion economic impact in Ohio, and that's billion with a B. Now, Ohio has seen tremendous growth in craft breweries over the last 5 years. At the beginning of 2012, there were less than 50 in the state. Today, there's more than 240. And there's many breweries in planning, so who knows how many we're going to have in just a few years. For some perspective, California has 623. Now, these breweries are popping up everywhere in Ohio. Every major city has a brewery, and now even small communities like Maria Stein, Hicksville, and Lisbon, all places with small populations, boast their own breweries. I didn't even know there was a Hicksville, Ohio, until a brewery opened there. I thought it was a joke. Now, these craft breweries are having a big impact on their communities. In fact, many are being credited with helping turn around their neighborhoods by bringing back old, dilapidated buildings, bringing them back to life. Cleveland's Ohio City neighborhood was a dump before Great Lakes Brewing Company opened there. Unusual breweries abound here in the state, and Ohio has several firsts when it comes to the industry. Ohio is home to the first brewery inside a strip club. It's also home to the first brewery inside a Harley-Davidson dealership. Carillon Brewery here pictured in Dayton is a non-profit brewery that makes beer like it was in the 1850s. Now, I love sharing stories about beer and breweries, and one of the best ones is just down the road in Worcester. The beer is great, and the story behind the name is great as well. JFB Worcester Brewery has a naughty word in its initials. Since this is a family venue, I'll just say that it starts with F and it rhymes with trucking. So, what's some of the reasons that we're seeing all these breweries pop up in Ohio? Well, I really believe that people today are more interested in consuming local food and beverages, and that has a lot to do with it. Another way is the state government has helped brewers by doing away with the alcohol limit in beer. For years, brewers were limited to making beer that was 12%, but last year the state opted to eliminate the cap, just as there's no cap for wine or spirits. Hop and Frog Brewery in Akron was the first out of the gate with Gavel Slammer, which is 17.4% alcohol. Most breweries are also very welcoming to families. Young parents who grew up drinking craft beer don't want to change their routines. It's not unusual to walk into a brewery on a Saturday afternoon and see children, even babies, hanging out at the brewery. I love this photo because there's the sippy cup next to the beer. Now, many craft brewers are really engaged in their communities and make it a priority to give back to local charities, which in turn connects them even more to their audience. Black Cloister Brewing Company in Toledo has a motto of brew good, do good. The brewery was founded by a Lutheran pastor who believes God can work through craft beer. Not surprisingly, the interest in craft beer has spawned a whole industry called beer tourism. So not just me doing beer research. There's beer buses that will shuttle you around to different places, and beer trails that will encourage you to visit places. Earlier this year, the Summit Akron Convention and Visitors Bureau launched the Summit Brew Path. So where did this craft beer revolution start? Well, in Ohio, it all began up the road at Great Lakes Brewing Company in Cleveland. It was the first brewery to open in the state back in 1988. Great Lakes is known for beers such as Dortmunder Gold and Christmas Ale, and it's the largest Ohio-owned craft brewery. Great Lakes is a massive regional brewery, one of the largest in Ohio, but there are plenty of smaller operations in the state. Many, like Poor Boys Brew House and Washington Courthouse, pictured here, are nano breweries. They are just tiny breweries making one barrel at a time. The craft brewing industry is dominated by men, mostly men with big bushy beards, but there are many female brewers who created the Pink Boot Society to promote women in craft brewing. And there are a smattering of professional female brewers here in Ohio. There's a big trend in craft beer today that I wholeheartedly endorse. More craft brewers are releasing their beer in cans because they block out the natural enemies of beer, which is light and oxygen. You can also take cans where bottles aren't welcome, like the beach. The first modern craft brewery to can its beer in Ohio was Mad Tree Brewing Company in Cincinnati. Now, with all the breweries opening, consumers have tremendous choice at grocery stores, beer shops, and bars and restaurants. People ask me all the time if the craft market is saturated. It is. The store shelves can't hold any more beer. If a new beer comes onto the shelves, one has to go off. But there's still plenty of room for more neighborhood breweries. Let me leave you with one last thought about craft beer. I believe it's supposed to be entertaining, perhaps even a little goofy, and there are plenty of craft beer snobs out there, those people who make their beer way too serious, or take their beer way too seriously. But there are just as many people, or more, who like to have a little fun, so try to be one of those drinkers.